Hey everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace here, drop in on you, leaving the office, about to go hook up with the youngin'. With my family, I guess, you know, I could be a number of kids. When you got 13, it could be a number of them, but it's the youngest boy. I'm gonna spend a little time with him. They grow up so fast, man. Kid is 14. But anyway, leaving there, going to spend some time with him, then I'll eventually hit the gym. Probably after I get the 16-year off to work. But anyway, I want to drop in on you and talk to you about something that, to me, is one of the largest elephants in the room that gets very little attention and discussion. It's always overshadowed by a lot of the sensationalism and a lot of the other things that grab more attention but may not necessarily have as much gravity or weight. I want to talk to you about mental health in the Black community and where I would love to see the discussion go on that topic. Before I do, I want to remind you about partnering with me with book project number 25. 25 is a milestone. In doing anything, you do something significant 25 times, it's a milestone. And I'm excited about it. And I have announced previously earlier this week that I am partnering with the people in my community through sponsorship in the project, because this isn't just the book, this is the entire project. The book is just going to be the blueprint, but it's immensely important. It's the outlay of my research of over 150 years of systemic manipulation in how Blacks have been blocked as a collective in developing wealth. Obviously, there are always exceptions, but as a general rule, we have a very low median household wealth. And that is not all because we're lazy or we're dumb or we're not trying. And we deal with all that, but we also deal with the solutions. In this installment, it's going to be at least 400 pages, I'm predicting. I've done all the research over the last so many years. Can't really even put a number. I've been doing the research for a while, and I'm going to start the writing. Well, I started the writing this week. So, but if you click the link, you can go watch the video and learn a lot more about how you can sponsor. Everybody who partners or sponsors, however you want to frame it, will have their name in the book, and under their name they will be able to memorialize with a sentence or paragraph someone special in their life. If it's someone who's passed on, they'll memorialize them. For someone who is still living, they will make a statement of appreciation and acknowledgement, and it will be published. And there are a lot of different ways and benefits of doing this, including getting a book and getting your own page and a bunch of other stuff. But I want you to check it out because it's going to help me, but it's also going to be a way for us to come together and partner and show love to those we really care about, and be a part of something that I believe is going to be huge. I think this 25th installment of my work is going to be monumental, and I want and need your help to make it happen. And I want to bless you in what ways that I can, and you can see all that. So click the link, go check it out, and those who want to participate, please do. Mental health in the Black community. Mental health is my area of foremost expertise. There are a couple of things that I spent a lot of time and years mastering because I felt it necessary. But when it comes to mental health, that's where I make my money. That's where my career lies. That's a predominance of a lot of the material that I've put out in the Black community. From Born in Captivity, Psychopathology as a Legacy of Slavery, Mental Health at the core. And The Undoing of the African American Mind, which was book number 22, I believe. That was also mental health. Hundreds upon hundreds of scholarly articles and prose articles on the topic. And what I see is we have a void in the Black community. What I can tell you is that Black women suffer from depression at an alarming rate. And while they're willing to actually acknowledge it in therapy or to someone else, they're very unlikely to actually seek help from it. Black men not only suffer from depression, not at the rate of Black women, but there's so many other areas of mental health where we are struggling that is directly associated with our experience here. And we're starting to see it in teen suicide, Black male teen suicide rates. Now, we also have to say those aren't the only 2 or 3 categories, Black women, Black men, Black male teens. We are also seeing a skyrocket in the amount of suicides, not suicide attempts, suicides in children between the age of 5 and 11, where now for the first time in history, African Americans top the list. And there are a lot of different mechanisms and elements, variables and components that go into why we're here. The rise of social media and the access our children have to social media without truly being able to process all of the stimuli they will encounter on social media. You got to understand emotional intelligence, psychological, mental intelligence, and maturity are not just some abstract idea. It's a part of processing and experience that develops capacity and ability to manage experiences. When you don't have the ability and a capacity to manage any experience, you are liable to respond to it or react to it even more worse in a way that is not necessarily to your best interest. And that's with anything in life. That's why you don't allow drinking at a certain age. That's why you should be very aware of your children sexually, that they're not entering into that type of life too early, because it comes with more than just the physical encounter. It comes with a lot of emotional experience and intellectual and even spiritual experiences that they haven't yet developed the capacity to manage. So now we have these babies age 5 to 11 who are encountering all kind of adversity, disruption, absolute hatred, and so much more on social media. Now their peers, we all experience peer pressure growing up. We all experience kids teasing you at school. Even the bully got teased. Everybody got teased at school, but the difference is now it goes home with you. You know, when you can leave school and go home, okay, man, I really don't want to go to school. And you can kind of tell because your kid will be like, I don't want to go to school. And those are things we need to be aware of. We need to be aware when our children tell us they don't want to go to school, instead of automatically assuming they don't want to learn, they're just lazy, they're being rebellious. We need to ask why. We need to get to the core of it. We need to create relationships with our children in which they feel comfortable telling us things. A lot of times we are so forceful, especially those of us who were reared by another generation, where it's because I said so generation, don't question me generation. We tend to rule with an iron fist. And, I see the difference. Like I said, we got a lot of kids. My oldest will be 36 next month. My youngest is 7. And I see the massive difference in how they were real. Both of them are girls. Never put my hands on the oldest or the youngest, but the way I handle them was still different. Now, and that's coming from me learning through experience and realizing that everything my parents did to me wasn't necessarily good. Some of it was actually abusive. And also, while understanding that some of it was absolutely necessary, not the abusive part, but a lot of the things that we felt were overbearing and strict protected us. And so while removing the abusive elements and components, we still need to be in touch, but we need to do it in a way that we have an open line of communication with our progeny, with our children, our offspring. Why? Because that communication could be the difference between life and death. Not just, okay, if somebody's messing with them at school and you need to figure it out so you can deal with it, but if they are dealing with emotional issues that are weighing on them enough to where they are at a point where they are taking their lives, are they self-harming, or are they withdrawn? You know, have they become excessively passive or excessively aggressive? You need to be able to know your kids and spend enough time around your children to where you are aware of pattern changes. When patterns of behavior change, they aren't coincidental. People change behaviors because of influences and urges. In other words, we are who we are. We are creatures of habit, and we are normally forced or pushed into changing our habitual behavior. So if I'm an outgoing person and I got to be out all the time, and all of a sudden I stop going out, something caused it. You know, and it could be a bunch of different things. Loss will cause it. Fear will cause it. Anger, at extreme levels, and all these things will impact your mental health. High levels of stress will impact your mental health. High levels of stress are often associated with certain psychotic breaks. You have to understand that the idea that needing help means you're crazy is actually a part of the problem that has caused great harm in the black community. Black men right now will not get help because the idea is, if I ask for help, that means I'm crazy. People are going to think I'm crazy. When the truth of the matter is, life brings pressure at such a rate that if you aren't truly planning, now help doesn't always mean that you need to see a mental health professional, but you got to have someone you can trust that has the capacity to help you process where you're at right now. Sometimes that's just an elderly person with a great deal of wisdom, but sometimes you need somebody to help you find the source of what's causing the dissonance, and sometimes that requires a professional. There's nothing wrong with it. You are going to in life face some things that are going to take you places that will have you on edge. You know, you can't keep explaining in a way with, you know, I'm just a little edgy right now. I'm just a little moody right now. You know, I've always had a quick temper. At a certain point, you should be able to manage that. Having a quick temper isn't a badge of honor. It's a lack of control. And it shows that the only way you know how to handle things that aren't going your way is to get angry. Well, the problem is with anger, just like fear, it shuts off a great deal of your your prefrontal cortex, or your frontal lobe, which is responsible for executive function. It's where you do your thinking. It's where you do your rationalization. It's where you do your creativity. All the things you need to solve problems there. So anger doesn't help that. Fear doesn't help that. Stress doesn't help that. None of those things are going to help that. And so we need to understand how to recognize these things. We need to understand that we have a problem. We're literally losing our kids, and our men are literally snapping. And yes, even after you snap, you're responsible for what you do after you snap. But why are we not dealing with the fact that the men are snapping? Some of it is that they haven't been properly socialized to deal with stress. They haven't been properly socialized to deal with the things that they're going to have to deal with just by being a black man. And everything that comes with it, and so much that comes with it that we don't even get to talk about, because the moment we get to talk about it, everybody wants to start pointing fingers and having a competition on how they've suffered more than the other group in this country. The truth of the matter is, we've suffered in so many different ways, we can't even express it or quantify it in any way, because it's coming from so many different directions, and we tend to look for the easiest target. What am I getting at? We need a mental health network of mental health professionals, spiritual professionals, people who are experienced at helping people cope, because coping mechanisms are immensely important, because the right coping mechanisms will subvert and shut down the path to addiction, shut down the path to violence, shut down the path to criminality. You need to understand and know how to cope with different things that are going to come at you just simply for being alive. And so we really need to do this. It's something that I've been really talking about and passionate about for a while, and it never gets traction. And it's devastating our community. And so we need to find a way to do something about it. And I am working with others to try to make that happen. And I'm open. This is an open forum. That's what I want. I want people to weigh in on this video. And I'm going to give it more attention than I normally give. I don't go back and forth on the comment sections. Every now and then I acknowledge something when I see it, or I answer a question when I see it. And I try to be very respectful in doing so. And most of the time, people don't agree with me, just don't agree with me. They have a right. They have a right to their opinion. They have a right to actually hold a position. I'm not here to make people think like me. I'm here to make people think. But a lot of times I want to address those, but I'm going to pay very close attention to this because I'm open to ideas of the next step. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to do something different? And so for those of you who want to weigh in on it, do so. So I'm going to get off here. Also, as I get off, once again, I'm a reminder. Click that link and be a part of this project. I would love to have your sponsorship on this project, on this book, and you'll see how your sponsorship will show up in the book, your personal acknowledgments and memorials. So click that link. I'm about to get off of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.